How we doing? Today is Thursday, February the 7th. Oh, actually, no, excuse me, February the 8th, 2024. Just doing our live that we do on Tuesdays and Thursdays. We do deal reviews and we talk about real estate notes. We try to take questions if people have questions. Um, but on Tuesdays, we do a little bit more going into what notes are, breaking down notes, talking about different parts of the note industry. And then Thursdays, we focus more on reviewing deals and things of that nature. So that's what we do. We usually hear not that long, just depending on, how many people, join and have questions. So I'm going to share my screen here and show you this particular deal that I just reviewed, and it looks like a really good deal. Where we at here? Right here. Oh, um, so here are the photos. Um, Looks like a very large backyard. On the inside, looks very clean. Whoever was living there, looks like it's vacant now, but very clean, doesn't need any repair. Somebody may want to paint or something like that. This is a 3 bedroom, 2.5 bath in Texas. So these are the photos. We'll just keep going through that a little bit. Try to get let me see if I can get a front photo here. So So this one is on the market with an agent. We had a wholesaler bring us this, so we do have to pay the wholesaler and the agent, but this is a front photo. Very nice, nice property. Let's look at the actual deal itself. So the address is in Mongolia, Texas. So let's just do a quick review of Mongolia, Texas. So this is a smaller town, so that's a little bit of a concern. We would have to kind of see it's only about 2,600 people, so a very small town. So that is a concern. We have to see, just how far or close this is to another major city. Maybe if it's close to a major city, that would, make a difference for us. So just looking at the map here. Trying to see if there's another city that we can look up that's close. So that is going to be a little bit of a concern because obviously we like to purchase properties in areas where it's more, populated, at least, over 25,000, 30,000 people. So it gives us more of a chance to find our buyer. So let's see, Mongolia. Uh, so this is within Houston. So let's see how far this is from Houston. So it is about almost 50 minutes from Houston, so that's pretty far. So on this one, I would have to probably reach out to somebody in the area, have them give me a better idea, where the nearest big town or, one of the larger towns that's near, if it's surrounded by a couple of different towns that, may be, have more population. If, if there's a town that has 50,000 people within 15, 20 minutes, then that changes it because, that there's more people that would be willing to drive 15 minutes outside of another town to live in a property. So that's one concern that we have. But in terms of the numbers, we have a value of 250,000. It may be worth a little bit more than that, but we're going to be a little conservative on this one. So we're taking this over subject to the first lien. Looks like it has just under $180,000. So let's put one of the numbers was left out on this. So let's get that back in there. To the agent, 12.3. So, $12,333 has to go to the agent and the seller. The assignment fee, because there was a wholesaler that brought us this, is about 10,000. We have some other closing costs and holding costs. There looks to be a little bit of arrears. So it looks like the person that was living in the property had a little bit of an issue, hasn't made a payment probably somewhere in about 4 or 5 months. So, they're trying to get, from underneath this, and, we can help them do that. But on this one here, the principal and interest is $1,550. Which is very affordable. So, we're in an affordable area. I'm pretty sure that most people that live in this particular area, this is what the houses go for. And this is kind of like a median price here at $250,000. And this interest rate is really good. That's what, really has me interested in this particular deal, 2.49%. You're probably not going to see that for some time. And if you do see that, there's been a big shift in the market. There's been something that's happened for us to get back to, that type of interest rate. Now, the seller wants to carry back. They want to create a note to pay them each and every month for their equity. Because, obviously we're not coming in and paying, full price for the property, what they're looking for, which is probably somewhere around $250,000. I think this property might be listed. So let's see what it's listed for. So it's listed for 250. So been on the market how many days? Oh, it's only been on the market 30 days, but obviously they want to kind of move on from this property because they're behind. So we'll sell the property at 250. We'll do 10% down and we'll create 2 notes. Now we are looking for a funder to fund this particular deal, and we'll get into those numbers. The funder will go into second position behind the first lien that's on this particular property. And then the person that we put into the property is going to be in third and fourth position. So, any type of cash flow, we can't get paid unless, our investor doesn't get paid unless we get paid. So we're going to make sure, obviously we want to get paid each and every month. We'll make sure that the investor is taken care of and we get the right person in this particular property. So we're writing the 2 mortgages for our buyer at 9.5%, 360 months. The 2 payments roughly about $1,900. So, would somebody pay, maybe about $500 more to own? And then when you calculate taxes and insurance, maybe it's, $600 or $700 more than what it is to rent a property to own it. And a lot of times the answer is yes. Again, because we feel as though this is in an affordable area. Somebody paying about, $2,000, $2,200 is a reasonable payment when it comes to taxes, insurance, and everything like that. So in this particular deal, we're looking for $44,250. And we're willing to pay someone up to about 18% interest, fully amortized over 60 months. If we can negotiate our interest rate down a little bit, what we would do is do an equity split on the back end. After the 5 years, whenever this property pays off, our funder could then get another lump sum of money if this does pay off or if there is an equity event. We would not want to pay this off personally. We want to keep the 2.49% interest rate in effect as long as we can. I think right now it's over like 280 months still remaining on it. 292 months. So, that's like 15 years worth of payments still to go, and we want to make sure that that stays in place. So, if and when there is some type of equity event or at a later time in the future, we could do some type of equity split if we can get a lower interest rate initially. If not, that's fine. You can keep the 18% over the 60 months. And the reason why we like the deal is because once we put our buyer in, we're going to get $7,500 worth of cash right now, possibly more, just depending on how long it takes us to find a buyer and all of the costs associated with finding a buyer and closing the transaction. We may be able to pocket a little bit more money, but worst case scenario, we as the person facilitating this are going to make 7,500. And then these deals usually last anywhere from 8 to 10 years before the person wants to sell and cash out for their equity. Or get themselves together, financially in order to refinance or something like that. But the average time that somebody's in these properties is about 8 to 10 years. So we look at 100 months, and that's $100,000 payoff in 100 months. And that's really what we want. We want to build those up for the future. If we can get enough of those, and over time, when those start to pay off, that's what we really are looking for is the payoff down the line. And then also too, once we finish paying off our funder after 5 years, we start to make significant cash flow. We start to make this $810.48. That comes back to us plus the $117.70 that we're making right now. So that's a total of $928. So that's really good cash flow, down the line. And again, we try to get our funder paid off sooner rather than later. If we can, maybe pay them off sooner. Let's see. So if we do 60, let's keep it at 16, 18. Oh, so when I put that when I changed that one figure on there and added some more money, it did change this. I didn't hit the solve. So let me look at this again. So for 72 months, we'd be looking at trying to pay about 15, 16%. Even though we're cash negative right now, it's only 30, just about $32. $32 for us over the next 72 months is $2,300. So we could take out of our $7,500 that we're going to make once we get our buyer, just set that to the side and make sure that that gets paid. So we'll get roughly about $5,000 right now, and then we'll cover this difference for those 72 months. But then after that, we collect all of the cash flow to $928.17. And like I said, a lot of times we fixed in some costs that we may be able to save on, depending on how soon and quickly we find the buyer and where we find the buyer at. So I mean, this deal looks, it looks pretty good. Now it's just trying to, get the funder on this. And then also too, when it comes to some of this here, the assignment fee, money to agent, I probably can negotiate that. So let me just say, we'll do 8,000 and 7,500. That's not right. Why did it do that? Something's up. This is not right. Oh, 8,000. Not to say that wasn't right. So, and then I probably can go back to 18 and 60. So let's just say I do 17 at 60. So pretty much, breaking even on this one. And that's just adjusting some of those, costs to get into the deal. We'll have to go back to the person and see if they'll take, that 8,000 and 7,500 and in order to do the deal. But we can still pay somebody up to about 17% for 60 months, and we'll be basically cash neutral and still have that $100,000 payday, on the back end here. So, just about 95,000. So, and like I said, if we can get somebody to, let's just say if they can do 15%, the back end money, goes up a little bit, but we can do possibly an equity split back here, maybe 30, 70, 30 on it. So they would get an extra like, 30 grand, at some time in the future. And then we would keep, over 60 grand on this at that particular time. So, this is how we create notes. So we would create a note for a buyer to live in this particular property. Because obviously right now someone is not getting qualified, or they're not getting, qualified for the mortgage to pay $250,000 to buy the property outright. So we can create that for someone. Just like a bank would. We get them qualified, we check their credit, we check their income, we send them to a mortgage specialist, have them get them qualified just like a bank would, make sure that all the I's are dotted and T's are crossed when it comes to that, and make sure that we get the right person in here. Banks right now are having, they're a little bit tighter on credit. There could be any number of factors why they won't prove someone. Mortgage availability, mortgage credit availability, if you look this up, is down considerably, almost about 50, just about 50% from pre-pandemic levels. So there are a lot of people out there that make the money, that could afford to be a homeowner, but for whatever reason, the bank is not qualifying them. And that's who we're going to go after. That's who we're going to choose from and pick from. So, and then just say, because interest rates right now are 7% and we're charging 9.5% on ours, if they want to refinance, we will cross that bridge at that particular time. We can go to them, maybe renegotiate. And the reason why we can do that is because when we do renegotiate the terms, their clock starts all over again. They go back to, 360 months, 30 years of payments, even though they've reduced possibly their monthly, their monthly payment. But whenever they decide to try and refinance, we've continued to pay down our 292 months. That could be possibly 250 months. It could be 3 or 4 years down the line that they want to refinance, or whatever the case may be. So now when they start all over, and we're going to start most likely at market value. So, worst case scenario, let's just say it didn't gain any equity, in the property, or the value didn't go up. We're going to write that at $250,000. Let's just say rates get down to 5.5%, but it's going to be over 360 months. And so we've built in some more spread for ourselves based on what we're paying down and what we are still owed in the event that they want to sell the property. And at some particular time, if they want to do that, um, let's say they refinance, start all over, then in another 5 years they want to sell. How much equity did they build up, over 5 years? We can look here at an example of what that would be. In 5 years, which is what, 60 months, they would owe 180, and on the second, 36. So 200, 200 and no, it can't be 210. It's got to be more than that. Um, well, about $216,000 over 5 years is the total payout. So just to see like what the amortization schedule, after 5 years, if we restarted that clock at 250, how much would they still owe? Well over $200,000. And then again, our underlying loan is continuing to get paid down, down, down. So there's more of a spread there, that we could, maybe pay them for certain amount of equity that they may have at the time. After 5 years, they're not going to have that much, most likely that much equity built in after 5 years, because they're still paying considerable interest as opposed to principal. So let's just say they have $20,000 of equity. Could we not pay them their equity and get the property back? And then again, we start this all over. We'll go and we'll sell it again to somebody else who's going to give us 10% down, start the clock all over again. And this underlying loan continues to get paid down. And, the person still owes us, based on amortization, they're going to start at $250,000 again, and we could be closer to 200 at that time. So we built in more of a spread, for ourselves over time. So these are how these things work. Hopefully that makes sense to you. If it doesn't, please ask your questions. Let me try to explain, do a better job of explaining. But once you understand amortization as opposed to appreciation, amortization never goes away unless you as the bank, say, I'm going to forgive X amount of this or whatever the case may be. But other than that, it doesn't go away. But equity can. Everybody right now has a lot of equity. If there's any shift in this market and it goes down 10%, 20%, 30%, God forbid it goes down 50%, that equity is no longer there. You can't go and cash in that 50% of equity that you thought that you had in that particular property to get the funds out. It's not there anymore. But if the market dropped 50%, your amortization schedule doesn't change at all. You still owe what you owe. And then, as the bank, we can kind of negotiate with you, see, if there's something that we could do for you, maybe modify it, whatever the case may be, possibly get the property back if if you're having some issues and things like that. We're still in we're still in control of the property. We're still in control of things, even though we don't, physically live in there. So that's really what, we want people to understand and think about. And if you don't do this part of it where you create notes, you fund certain deals like this, there are notes that are already out there that are for purchase. So on Tuesday, we'll go into we'll look at, over the weekend, I'll find a couple of deals that, there are notes that are already created that you can buy. So, we'll look at that on Tuesday, and maybe there might be another deal like this that comes across as well. Maybe we'll revisit that next Thursday. But, I want people to see, just how we, what we're looking to do, what we're trying to do. Right now they're trying to make people renters, and we want to make people homeowners. You get a better person in the property. You see that the person's invested. They have 10%. Some people put down more than that, 15%. Some people may put down 20%. We just don't know. But they have more skin in the game. This is not a FHA type of loan where people only putting 3.5% down. We don't do that. We we make sure that somebody's invested in this. So, God forbid if something does happen, maybe we can go to you, we can work through the situation, whatever the case may be, or we can get the property back. But if somebody puts down 10%, 15%, 20%, it's going to be hard for them just to walk away from the property. They'll most likely, want to talk, want to work through things and things of that nature. So, we get a better quality of person living in the house. We get a homeowner that wants to take care of it. They probably have their kids in school and things like that. So, our goal is not to turn people into renters, but into owners, and hopefully they can build, wealth for their family and get them off to a good start. And that's what we're trying to do here. So, if you don't want to, like I said, do this type of deal, you want to look at potentially buying notes that people are already paying on, and then you have the opportunity to buy notes where the person has stopped paying. And you can do that because you can get those at a significant discount, get the property back, do what we just did here. Or if you do want to turn it into a rental or something like that, you can do that. But our first goal is to try to, create home ownership for people. So a lot of opportunity out there, a lot more opportunity is coming. I'm trying to get this out to people. Hopefully it's reaching and it's starting, to make sense. If I'm not making sense, please let me know what doesn't make sense. And we'll try to clarify that and do a better job of that. But it's a great opportunity. People who have investment funds and people who have retirement accounts, especially, you want to consider getting into notes right now, as an investment. And if for no reason that other than if worse comes to worse, you can get the collateral back. You can get the house back to be able to make sure that you recoup on your investment. So we'll see everybody next Tuesday, 8:15 p.m. And we try not to keep you too long or whatever, but just wanted to kind of go through this. This came through and show everybody how we put these things together. All right. Have a great day, and we will talk to you soon.